Are you in there?
I remember when I lost my mind. I remember when I lost my mind.
And a good Tuesday evening, everybody. Chris McDonald with you on this Tuesday night, the 15th day of October, 2025. We're grateful to have everybody in the house with us tonight. And we thought we had saved something. We did. I thought I had saved this screen, but I guess I didn't. But anyway, we will get it fixed one of these days. We're trying to migrate this new computer, and it's not been doing too well in this migration stuff, but that's okay. We just can't seem to get ahead these days, but we will one of these days get behind the 8 ball and get it all done. But listen, we're grateful you're with us tonight on this Tuesday. It's going to be a fairly abbreviated show. We got some videos to play for you. Don't ever give Chris McDonald a toy to play with, to do stupid, crazy things with. I'm sorry for the I go crazy thing. No, I'm not. I think that was pretty funny. I've been playing around with this where they take your lips and put your lips to other things, other songs and all, and it's an epic fail. It is an epic fail, but it's funny. And we'll do the hokey pokey again tonight. Anyway, alrighty. What we've got with us tonight, who we got with us tonight is great. I'm going to play you about a 15-minute interview. All this lasts about 15 minutes. Maria couldn't stay with us long. She told me she had 15 minutes, and she wasn't wrong. She had to leave in the middle of the interview right before we were getting to the good stuff. But we had 15 minutes, but I got 15 minutes with her. And Maria Espinoza here. I'm going to play this first. And then I'm going to come back and play a few videos and take your thoughts and questions tonight. We got a lot going on in the country tonight. We are 3 weeks away. 3 weeks away from the election. We got some thoughts on that tonight. We're going to take your thoughts. Now, while I'm playing this interview, I hate to have to be a babysitter. I hate to talk like this to children. Please respect my guests. I don't need paragraphs in that chat. I don't need links in that chat. I need you to listen when we open the floor up for you to espouse your whatever. We still don't need paragraphs. When I ask you for a question, I don't need a paragraph. It's just distracting. And please don't do that, okay? We're not, nothing personal. We're not trying to be a horse's patoot. It's distracting. People ain't got time to read your paragraph. By the time they read your paragraph, I could have uttered 16 things that they would forget if I don't have their attention. So please, if you've got a paragraph, send it to McFilesForum@gmail.com. And no Q stuff. None of this conspiracy talk. Stay on topic and listen to our guests. You might learn something. If you do, and you may not talk as much. Now, that's not being ugly. That's Chris just being a host of a show, and that's the parameters of our chat. And we've had that parameter in place for 7 years. We have some new folks that come in from time to time that have to be reminded of that, and it's nothing personal. But that's how we want our chat handled. It's always been that way. I do it for the protection of my guests. I do it for the protection of those in the chat that just want to listen and not be hindered by a bunch of nonsense and dumb-foolery from people that don't have any more time on their hands but to scour the internet for conspiracy crap and to come post it in places they shouldn't post it. I'm in a Tuesday mood, as you can tell, but Chris is actually in a good mood tonight. I'm in a fun mood. What will I be if I were out in a bad mood, right? But anyway, now that I got that off the burner, we can proceed, as Doc Holliday once said, Barber. Here is Maria Espinoza about the border. It's not a good thing down there. But tonight, I will say this. I'm going to put this interview in context. This month, October, Maria Espinoza is part of the Remembrance Project, the remembranceproject.org. It's a great organization. I actually first talked to Maria. I was doing the Smoky Mountain Journal paper at the time. That's way back in 2016. Talked to her by phone, and I think we did our first interview with her with the newspaper. And then when I started the McFiles in 2018, she became a regular guest for about 2 or 3 years, and she a lot of changes went on. She ran for office, and I got sick 21, and it's just been a couple of years since we've been able to really connect. But it was so good to hear from my buddy. But her organization, what they do, they keep a log and they keep a database of all individuals in this country that have been killed directly or indirectly as a result of an illegal alien being in this country and breaking the law. Of course, that's an oxymoron. If you're here illegally, you've already broke the law. But a lot of these illegals, they come in and they kill people, they maim people, and they do a lot of bad stuff. And Maria's organization is dedicated to keeping the country aware of this, because the media sure as blank won't. I know this network has supported her, and we've always let her come on when she needs to come on. Hadn't heard from her in a while, but this month is Remembrance Month, and they're doing a pledge. They're getting the governors to sign a pledge. Some of the governors will, some of them won't. Ain't that just peachy? Ain't that just peachy that some governors won't protect their own citizens from the illegal alien crime wave? But it shouldn't surprise us. But I'm going to let Maria talk to you a little bit tonight. I'll be back. About 15 minutes is all this lasts, so I'll be right back on this McFile Tuesday night. Then I'll get your thoughts. We're going to talk about the election a little bit. Play a few videos. I've got an interesting video to play for you. Or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 or 20. However long I can go tonight. We're grateful to we're grateful to have you. No, Chris ain't drinking nothing. Chris ain't on nothing. Chris just in a happy mood. Chris is just in a happy Tuesday mood. It's a McFile Tuesday night. And here's Maria Espinoza. Put some fire in that house. I'm grateful you're with me. Roll tape. Everybody, Chris McDonald with you on this special McFile. So it's so great to have dear friends with us back after an absence. And it is definitely a pleasure and an honor to talk to my dear buddy Maria Espinoza, the Remembrance Project. Her and I guess it's been almost 6 years now. I know it had to be in that first year when we started the show, which was 2018, and maybe shortly after that, talked to her for the first time, got to meet her in D.C. and her husband. And Maria, it's always a pleasure. It's been a while since we've talked to you. A lot has changed in the country since I've talked to you. I know that.
Right.
Not for the good, my friend. Not for the good. It's good to see you tonight, and I'm looking forward to a short chat with you. It's really a pleasure. How are you?
Yeah, doing well. And it has been some time, Chris. And I think we actually spoke earlier than I think it was like 2016.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. So it's been a while. So, but yes, I'm glad that you're still fighting the good fight and doing your part to help save this country. But you're right. We're in a bad situation right now, and it's very different, these last 4 years than, the previous years under President Trump's administration.
Absolutely. Maria, we've got somewhat of a new audience since you've been on here last, and I'm going to take about 3 or 4 minutes and tell everybody what the Remembrance Project is. Basically, it's a special organization in my heart, because you all basically bring memory and bring recognition to these families that have lost loved ones from a illegal alien. And it's something that the media sure ain't doing. And I even watched J.D. Vance over the weekend have to school the CNN reporter Martha Raddatz, and I wouldn't even call her a reporter when she claimed that the Venezuelan gangs that had overtaken those apartment complexes in Aurora, Colorado, were just a few minor, gang members. It wasn't no big deal. Well, it's never a big deal until somebody gets killed, and if it's your daughter or
Right.
mother, it's a lot different, isn't it?
Right. Right. She said that only a handful of
yes.
apartment complexes have been taken over by these vicious gang members. You're right. Well, the Remembrance Project is a voice for Americans who were killed by illegal aliens. And we have a Stolen Lives quilt banners, which are a visual memorial of all of the lives that we say are stolen. And these are people who should still be here with their families, enjoying their American dream, graduating, getting married, having children, just enjoying themselves. But because our borders are not secured and basically our laws, especially immigration laws, are not being followed, these people have been killed and taken away from their families, permanently separated by their families, Chris. So we have been active since 2009. So this is our 15th year. And I never thought that I would be doing this. I had a small business, and when there was a case in Houston, Texas, Officer Henry Canales was killed, and the reporter mentioned that there was another police officer the year before who had been killed and whose widow had filed a lawsuit against the city. And that's what caught my curiosity. It's all horrific for anyone getting killed, and a police officer in the line of duty. And I was curious as to what warranted a lawsuit. And I found out there that it was sanctuary city policies that the Houston Police Department practiced. And I was a former legal assistant, so I did some research and all. And being that my father immigrated the right way from Mexico, I was just, shocked that sanctuary city policies even existed. And back then, Chris, hardly anyone knew what sanctuary city policies are. Yeah, and now I think the entire country knows what they are, but yet they still exist. They're, in my opinion, very unlawful, unconstitutional, because they're aiding and abetting illegal aliens, and they're supposed to be deported. Just exactly what President Trump wants to do. And so this month is the Remembrance Month. All of October, what we are doing is sharing the Stolen Lives quilt banners, the images of our fellow Americans who were killed. And we extended President Donald Trump's proclamation that he signed for us in October of 2020. And it was a National Day of Remembrance for Americans killed by illegal aliens. We extended that day to a month-long remembrance. It's the least that we can do. We just felt we had to do more to get the word out and keep it in the forefront. And as now they're talking. Oh, look at, even Bill Clinton talked about it.
Yes, he did.
But
he did.
He said, he spoke the truth, but it was by mistake, Chris, and we know that.
Absolutely.
But Laken Riley, the 22-year-old Georgian student, nursing student, should still be here, and we've recognized her, on our social media at Stolen Lives QLT on Facebook and Stolen Lives Quilt on X. So we're still out here fighting, but we need people to share the images. I absolutely donate. There are places that we needed to be and families that we needed to try and meet, but I can't be there to help them with whether give testimony or a press conference. And it's just difficult, and I volunteer my time, just as you do too. So
absolutely. And I do want to ask you a question, and I don't know if you can even put a figure on this. Would you have an estimate of how many people in this country alone, let's just say America, has been killed by an illegal alien? And let's just do a year that me and you met, 2016. We talked for the first time. We met 2019 in D.C. But Maria, if you had to put a figure on it, is there any way to even put a figure on how many? It's got to be in, I would say, thousands, millions, maybe. I don't know. I don't even know how many you're talking about here, because that's a lot of people that have lost their lives.
Right. We believe that there's tens of thousands, but it's difficult to put a number on that because and we asked U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions in 2017. We met with him, and we thought we could get a number now. We'd get the reports, but it's impossible. And it's true, because there are sanctuary jurisdictions that do not cooperate with the federal government. So these more leftist liberal jurisdictions do not keep those statistics, or they just keep them close to their vest and don't share it. So it's impossible. We do have a database. It's not complete by any means, and we have a spreadsheet that we first started out on that. That database we have the only database that's very intricate. We worked with a coder for about 2 years or so. Mm-hmm. But it's impossible, Chris. I wish we had that number, but when the media begins to hide the names of the illegal aliens or hide the immigration status, you could spend hours of just trying to research and follow one case, one killing, and, to find out finally, without having to go in person to the district clerk's office, which I have done, and request a copy for the warrant on that killer, then it will state it on that warrant. But short of that, it's just really impossible until maybe President Trump will make them.
I hope so.
Reports.
Well, he issued that decree this week that he promised should he get elected, and that it's the end of the game. It's the end of the road for these Venezuelan gangs, all these gangs, really, to be frank with you. He's going to deport every one of them. I do got to ask you a question, and it's a solemn question. The world changed in 2020, and this country has been downhill. Did you ever fathom that this illegal alien situation would get to the depth that it did under Joe Biden? Did you have any hope that there would at least be some sensibility to D.C.? Because, Maria, they have opened the floodgates to, I don't even know what the figure is at this point, 12 to 15 million. I don't think anybody knows how many are here illegally. I can guarantee you right now it ain't a few, like Martha Raddick's claim. It's millions. And it's affecting millions of people. They may not have been killed, but they've been affected by this surge. I have to tell you, I've been shocked at how many mayors and how many states and how many governors have opened their states and cities to this. And now even some of these Dems are coming to the realization they've opened a Pandora's box that I don't know if we can close it at this point. But did you, in what you do and what you do with the Remembrance Project, did you see this coming as bad as it's gotten?
Yep. Well, first of all, we can do something about it. I think that's what people need to understand. We absolutely can, and we absolutely must do something about it, and that is to deport every illegal alien, starting with the criminal gangs.
Bingo.
Yes. So I think that to answer your question is yes, I did see that this would get really bad after, certainly in Obama, I thought President Trump was a great relief that he would fix it. However, as you know, even Republican Speaker at the time, Paul Ryan, even opposed him. So nothing got done. I say over and over, we had the majority in the House and the Senate and America's first president, and the wall didn't get finished. There wasn't mass deportations. It was just a struggle, and there were obstacles that the establishment swamp put up against President Trump. So I think this time around, I think he understands, especially after being the attempted assassination on his life, looking three now, I think, attempts. Yes. So, yes, I did think about that. And when President Trump did not win, and I believe the election was stolen from him,
I did too.
That I knew it was going to be very, very bad. And really, Chris, our intel told us almost 2 years ago that they were only catching 8 to 10%, apprehending and asylum seekers, but only 8 to 10%. And I know that there were a lot of gotaways because we were working with the Texas county sheriffs, and they were telling us of what was taking place on the forefront. And we have friends whose husbands are Border Patrol agents and wives. So, yes, I knew it was very bad, and the floodgates were absolutely open. And, they had been inviting, during the 2020 presidential election, Biden had invited the illegal aliens, just like Clinton had done. They were going to give amnesty in the first 100 days. So, of course, they're inviting the entire world. So, yes, I knew it was going to be this bad. And we just did everything that we could to raise awareness and shout it from the rooftops.
You
but,
have.
We're still out there. So
Let me ask you
yeah.
this. A couple of, I know we got you about 10 more minutes. Let me ask you this. The election coming up, is the goal of the Democrat Party, I think this is an easy question, it's a softball toss, but I want you to chime in on this. It's a given that the ultimate goal of a lot of this influx and swarm of illegals across the border, it's definitely cheap labor, but it's also votes. They want these people to vote in our elections, Maria, and they don't care about them even having citizenship at this point. And I think that's her goal. If God forbid this thing go bad in 3 weeks,
Yep.
that I think that's her goal, that she's going to grant amnesty to every one of these people without going through any citizenship to be able to vote. And we may never see a Republican president ever again if that happens.
Well, I think it's more sinister than that. I think there are people who have sold us out to China and the like, and Venezuelans, all the communists, and that it's going to be a free for all for America. But they want to destroy America. And these people, like the liberal leftist Democrats, they think they're going to be at the top, and that's not going to happen. We look at history, what takes place, and I think they want complete destruction of our country and absolutely take over the government. And you can see some of this has already started, where these illegal aliens think that they can go in and squat on our property, and it's theirs.
Great point.
So that's what we're up against. So it's very sinister what's going on, and this country can be taken over, and people need to get that through their heads. America can be taken over, and we're almost in checkmate.
I'll agree.
Well, Chris, listen, I'm going to have to go.
Okay, listen, I'm going to
do it again.
We'll do it again soon, and thank you for these few minutes with us tonight, Maria, and I'll be in touch, and I encourage people to go to remembranceproject.org, and we'll be right back. Thank you, Maria.
Absolutely. God bless you. Thank you, Chris.
And we are back, and thank you, Maria. It was... back after this break, and you've been listening to a special broadcast with her on the line. She couldn't stay with us long tonight. We're going to get her back on for a longer interview. I'll be back with you in just a second. We'll be right back. I was talking over myself there. Sorry about that. I forgot I did a little end job there. It's been one of those nights. It's been one of those. I apologize for the volume level. The Zoom wasn't as loud as it should have been on my end, but Maria was fine. I hope you heard what she had to say. I'm going to get your thoughts on that, what she said tonight, as far as the illegals go. We've got a good crowd out here. How are you folks out there tonight? We got right at 100 folks, 200, approaching 200 tonight. It's good to see everybody. And Mountain Warrior, no, not yet. She'll be here tomorrow on the question about the baby. If you got a question or comment, I'm going to go ahead and take your questions and comments now. And then we're going to do some other things tonight. If you got a question or comment, what you heard from Maria Espinoza, go ahead and put it in the chat room tonight. Did you enjoy her? She was great, wasn't she? She was absolutely great. And it's good to see everybody tonight here on this Tuesday night. If you got a statement, let me just say this about the illegals. Me and Maria agree 100%. I think that the only way that this ends is that we basically have a mass deportation. I don't know if the Republican Party, I'm not saying Trump, I'm saying the Republican Party has a stomach for it. We should have done this way back before this got to this place. I've talked to other border people, and to do what needs to be done is going to be virtually impossible over a short period of time. And the question is, I'm not sure if Trump, even having 4 years, will be able to do it. Now, I'm not saying he can't, and I'm not saying he shouldn't, because this influx of illegality has got to stop. I want to show you this website. I want to show you Maria's website, and I want to show you a portion of it that is very touching. And this is the website right here. And they are truly a voice for victims killed by illegal aliens. But if you come down to the bottom and you see that portion of the website right now, that is what they call stolen lives. And if you just sit there and click on any of those names, those are individuals. Every single one of them right there have perished in this country because of an illegal alien. We didn't get to talk about more of the political stuff tonight as to what happens should Kamala Harris get elected. I will tell you this, and this goes on and on and on, folks. And again, I think Maria rightly said to you tonight, and I don't doubt the fact they can't get a true figure on how many has been killed. It's tens of thousands, and I said millions, but I will put it like this. Millions have been affected by this situation. Millions have been. It's not just Texas. It's not just California. It's not just Arizona. It's not just New Mexico. But if you take those 4 states, folks, you've got millions of people living in those states, and they have been affected by the influx of illegal alien migration, immigration, whatever you want to call it. It's not immigration to me. An immigrant is somebody that goes to a local immigrant board and a local immigrant place and does it the right way. Somebody coming across the border that's illegal, that's not an immigrant to me. That's a lawbreaker. And they're committing lawlessness. And they're a criminal. And I know the left cringes at that, and some on the right cringe on it. Some of these wussy pastors cringe on it. Some of these wussy charisma editors cringe on it. Because God forbid that we not be compassionate lawbreakers. And they always, when they play the Jesus card, and I'm not being sacrilegious here tonight, folks, but I mean this, you got church people, and I see the signs in my city, I see them all over this country when I travel, and they'll have, come as you are, all people welcome, including migrants, including immigrants, and they never ever distinguish between the true person that has gone the right way, like Maria Espinoza. Her family came from Mexico. She came from Mexico, but she came to this country, got her citizenship the right way, and so forth, as compared to somebody that just decides, well, I'm going to come into America and have a good old time killing and raping and murdering people and breaking the laws, because hell, they're not going to stop me at the border anyway. I've already broken the law getting across the border, so why should I care what the Americans do to me? Because all I'm going to do is get sent back to my country for a few months, and then I'll come right back over the border. And folks, we've had repeat offenders. It's just been like a opening door elevator, escalator. They come in, they get caught doing something bad. We send them back. They're back here in 2 months. They're back here in 3 months. They commit another crime. Somebody else is dead. Some other daughter's dead. Somebody else's son is dead. Somebody else's mom is dead. Somebody else's dad is dead. So why would they care? They don't care. There's a big difference. But these churches think that, well, it's all the same bunch, and it's not all the same bunch. And that's just a lie of the devil. And that's how these churches play it. And then you start talking to these pastors, God forbid that they would ever tell you that these are illegal lawbreakers. No, we need to be kind. And then the richest thing I hear was, what would Jesus do? I tell you what Jesus would do. I can tell you one thing Jesus would do. If they were breaking the law and they refuse to repent and they refuse to do what was right, you don't want to know what Jesus would do. But this is the Jesus that America has come to know, that he tolerates lawlessness, and he tolerates debauchery, and he tolerates these things, and he turns a blind eye to it. He does not turn a blind eye to it. God does not turn a blind eye to it. And any nation that turns a blind eye and opens its borders, folks, to this will not survive, and this one will not survive what we're doing. It's not going to survive it. And the only answer, the only way this gets fixed is if we deport them. And I know that people don't have a stomach for it. I know some people do. This audience, I think, would be in agreement. That's what we've got to do. But you very well can't do it if you don't have the will of Congress and you don't have the will of the people, and the media is going to excoriate you. And you're going to have somebody like Trump, folks, that don't care what the media says. And I think that him being a lame duck would be just the medicine the doctor ordered, because he ain't got nothing to lose politically. You're not going to get this from somebody that's got something to lose politically for doing it, unless they just do what's right for the country and they don't care whether they get reelected or not. And that's always been our problem in this country. We do things for political reasons, and expediency instead of common sense expediency and instead of spiritual expediency. And that's just the way it is. All righty. And Susan, you're right. Everybody needs to get out and vote. And Jeannie, I'll agree. It would never happen with this criminal government because criminals are not going to bring criminals to justice. They're not. Pat, I'm not going to say we've reached the point of no return. I don't believe that just yet. I think that it's going to be a very tough situation to get these illegals out, but I think it can be done. Jeannie, your question about how are we going to find them, that's a bigger issue. And that's probably the more important question. Right now, they're coming in so quickly, and there is no system of basically finding. Jeannie, that question's probably, if you can answer that question, my friend, you should run for president, honestly. I mean that. If we can come to an answer to that, Jeannie, if I could find the answer to that, I'd stop doing the McFiles. I'd just run for office. Chris wouldn't last a day doing that, trust me. Chris wouldn't last a day. Because my first press conference would end it. It just would. But we can't find them, Jeannie. That's the honest to God's truth. We can't find them. There's no way that we could track them down. And I'm not sure what percentage is out there that we even know who's here and who's not. These figures that the Homeland Security people are throwing out at us is a joke. And you know, Mayorkas is out there and the media's out there covering for them and saying, well, we ugly Republicans and we ugly conservatives, we're lying about the fact that we spent all this FEMA money on the immigrants and we spent all this FEMA money. And there's video after video after video after video of Mayorkas and the media and Harris and all of them saying that we have allocated. There's video of John Pierre, whatever her name is, Kareem, saying that we have allocated so many FEMA dollars for immigrant camps and stuff, but all of a sudden they get their hand in a cookie jar when we have two major hurricanes hit us, and there's no money for American citizens. And we've sort of dealt with that last week with a $750 insult to the people of Asheville, North Carolina. And other folks in Tennessee, I would take that $750 and I would tell the government to shove it up its backside. It's an insult. And folks, I'll give you the numbers. I mean, we've got, I'm guessing, in that region of the country, maybe 10 to 20 million people, give or take. I mean, it's a pretty big area of the country. But let's just say you got 5 to 10 million, whatever the figure is, population is of those cities, and you combine them all of East Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia's included in this. We'll just be conservative. Let's just be conservative. Say there's 15 million people. Can you not tell me or believe that we cannot give each one of those families? Because we're dealing with families here. I'm not talking about the kids. Because out of that 10 to 15 million, you're going to have 5 million families, maybe 6 million, 5 to 6 million families, 7 million families, not counting the children. But if you gave $1 million to every family, it would be like me pulling $20 out of my pocket and giving it to some kid on the street when it relates to what the government's got. And when it pales in comparison to what we've given to Ukraine and given to Lebanon and given to the terrorists that are trying to destroy Israel tonight and what we've given to Iran on tarmacs, I mean, we gave Iran back in 2015 $150 billion basically to go ahead with their nuke program. And the joke was on the American public that we were being told Iran wasn't going to get a nuke. And Iran's been trying to get a nuke ever since, 10 years later. You take that $150 billion back, do you not think we'd have enough money to help these folks in North Carolina, truly help them get back on their feet, buy homes, buy what they needed to replace their goods? A lot of these insurance companies, from what I'm understanding, are screwing around with the people, and that's the insurance joke. That's another thing that's a joke in this country. You pay all these premiums for health insurance. You pay all these premiums for car insurance and home insurance. And then when something happens, these people find every loophole in the world to screw you over and not pay. It's the biggest joke, and it's the biggest Ponzi scheme we've ever had, short of Social Security. And if you don't have insurance, most of us go bankrupt if we have a major catastrophe. So they got you over a barrel. But when you really need them, they're nowhere to be found. And I don't doubt that these people in North Carolina are experiencing that. I don't doubt that a bit. Just on my experience with insurance companies, just in the last year, I can tell you, it's a joke. It's a joke. But my point is tonight, we got the money. America's got the money. We had the money to help these families. But we pissed it all away on people that are trying to kill us and this invasion. And we peed it all away on the Ukraine. And we've peed it all away on enemies of America. And we've wasted it. We've done nothing but pure tea, wasted it. When the people of North Carolina and Florida and South Carolina and Georgia and Tennessee need it, well, there ain't nothing to be found. So let's give y'all a $750 insult to put a Band-Aid on it. You can't even, I heard somebody say last week, and it's about the truth, that's about 2 trips to the grocery these days. If that, for a family of 5 or 6. It's a joke, folks. It's an insult. But let me say this tonight. I haven't meddled yet, even though some folks thought I was meddling at the beginning. I wasn't meddling. No. Let me tell you this. This is all on the ballot in about 3 weeks. This is all on the ballot in about 3 weeks. If this country chooses the left, if they choose the path of Harrison Waltz, Maria is pretty convinced, like I am, they're going to turn every one of these illegals into voters. They're going to give amnesty. There will never be a deportation. Not one of these people will have to be required to go back. They will do nothing about the border for 4 more years. And folks, you just think about what's happened in these 4 years. You can just consider these 4 years the fire. The next 4 will be the gasoline on that fire. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't want to even think about where we're going to be. Now, the Dolans, to your point, are we past a point of no return? No. With a strong leader, and the right leader, and the right wisdom, and the will of the people. And I think most Americans, I may be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure if you did a serious poll with right numbers, not just these skewed polls, but if you did a regular poll, most Americans would agree the illegals need to go. I think this audience, I'm reading sort of some of the comments, most people believe that. Most people believe that. And anyway, Roger says, are Democrats as concerned with illegal immigration as conservatives? Of course not, Roger. No, of course not. That's a softball toss. No, they're not. But I will tell you what's happening, Roger. The only time the Democrats get concerned about illegal immigration is election time, because they know they're about to have their ARSEs handed to them. And when they see the anger of the people around election time, they all of a sudden get Jesus, and they all of a sudden start talking about, we got to close the border, we got to close the border, we got to close the border, we got to do something about this. The mayor of New York basically had opened the freaking floodgates of New York to illegal aliens, made it a sanctuary city. The mayor of Chicago's done the same thing. The governor of Illinois made it a sanctuary state. California's made it a sanctuary state. It's always, let's open it up to everybody for the first 3.5 years if you're doing it in an election year cycle. But the last 6 months, everybody finds Jesus, Roger, including Dems, and everybody wants to close that border. This is on the ballot, folks. This is on the ballot. Come November, come 3 weeks from now, this is on the ballot. This is on the ballot. This is on the ballot. But I want you to go to that Remembrance Project and just take some time. And I want you to just look at the names and the faces of these people, folks, because I'm going to tell you what, that's who we're voting for in 3 weeks too. We're voting that their memory not be lost. We're voting that their memory means something, that we shut this border down, and we hold to an account the people that are responsible for this. I want to say a lot more, but it's probably not wise if I say what I really, 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 really wanted to say tonight. Because the air would be the color of my background tonight. I can tell you that right now, because I'm fuming mad about it. And we should be fuming mad too. Roger, you say Democrats would make it difficult to deport them. They're already making it difficult. Roger, I can guarantee you. Let me give you a history thing, Roger. When Trump came into office in 2016, he got elected in 2016, he started a process of, look, all he wanted to do the first 6 months is put a moratorium on immigrants coming from Europe because he said we need to get a handle on our illegal aliens here. The left lost their minds, and every organization they could find went to court and started suing him over the constitutionality of what he was doing, and stalled it in the courts for 6 to 8 months. And the rhinos in the House and the Senate wouldn't back him. He had nowhere to go. And I don't know where all that went eventually, but he couldn't do a thing. It handcuffed him for 6 to 8 months. And then that was when they got the momentum to impeach him and go after him with this Russia hoax stuff. So Trump was trying to do something about it. So will the Democrats make it difficult? Is the Pope Catholic? Just saying, yeah, they'll make it difficult. And by the way, while I'm at it, you know what the DOJ is doing tonight, folks? 3 weeks before the election. They're suing Alabama tonight because Alabama's trying to get the illegals off their roll. You know who else they're suing? They're suing the state of Virginia because Virginia's trying to do the same thing. And they're claiming that it's too close to the election for them to do it. If I'm in Virginia, I'm taking it to the Supreme Court. Immediately have an emergency hearing and tell the DOJ to go do something. That, again, I can't really say a lot I want to say. But tell the DOJ to take that lawsuit and shove it under their DOJ. Because that's what I would do. But the government of Virginia needs to step up to this and stand up to this. It's a travesty. That's what the Democrats will do, Roger. They'll tie it up in the courts. They'll tie it up in the courts. Anyway, and thank you. Please, no internet prophecies in the chat. I'm sort of sick of all the prophecies myself. I don't mean that to be ugly tonight, but anyway. Carol Smith said, can any family who lost loved ones sue the government? You know, Carol, I think some have tried. But suing the government's a tough thing. It's a tough road to hoe. Carol, the reason it's a tough road to hoe, the government owns courts. They own the courts. I mean, you're walking already with your hands tied behind your back. But I think some of them have tried to sue the government. Look, our dear friend Chris Story lost her brother to an illegal alien. And she sued the state of North Carolina because they let this guy that killed her brother go twice. And she lost that case. It was a joke. They threw it out. Told her it had no merit. And she mourns to this day. And Chris is a dear friend, and I've seen her. She really went downhill after this. It's been about 3 years ago when all this happened. We had her on our show. We've had her on our show, and she was very, very calm when I first interviewed her, and I talked to her right after this, and her whole demeanor had changed. She got bitter for good reason, but she tried to sue North Carolina because they let this guy go twice, not once, but twice. She got no justice. Her brother is dead tonight with no justice. None. So, yeah, they can sue, but it's not going to go too far. It's a good question, actually. It's a good question. It's a really good question. Mark, he says, Biden and Harris, the borders are overturned all of Trump's border policies to create this mess. They own it. Mark, that's a good point. They do own it. But the question is, are the voters going to make her pay for what she's done? I don't think they are. There's some that will. But look, let me say this. We talked with James Akers last night a little bit about the Fox News things. This Fox News thing burns me to the core. Bret Baier is a piece of you-know-what. I do not like Bret Baier. I've never liked Bret Baier. He is a rhino. He hates Trump. The Fox people, the Murdoch family hates Trump. They cannot stand him. They would never, ever, in 10 million years, let Kamala Harris be interviewed by Jesse Walters or Sean Hannity or Mark Levin or who's another conservative, Maria Bartiromo even. I guarantee you they'd never let her within 100 miles of her. They wouldn't let her be within 100 miles of any of their conservative people. They put the one man on that network that's not going to ask her any hard questions. And you know what they're going to do? It's just a prediction. Chris has been pretty square on with his predictions lately. Her campaign is going to go back out now after this interview, and tell the world, aha, we have done serious interviews. So what Trump is telling you that we've not done serious interviews in the media is false. We've sat down with the one and only Fox News. We went into the lion's den and did a serious interview. It's a joke. Bret Baier, I look at Bret Baier on the level as I do The View. He's just got a suit on, and it's just got a conservative label. He's no better than Whoopi, Joy, or the other brainless moron that's on there that sits beside them. I don't even know her name at this point, and I don't care at this point. I don't watch The View. I look at him on the same level. It's pathetic. And Trump basically took him to task today, and he said it was pathetic, and that Fox News needs to be ashamed of itself, and it does need to be ashamed of itself for what it's done. For what it's done. It's pathetic. It really is. Anyway, I'll say, Chris, tell me how you really feel. I just did. Anyway, Cleo says it's pre-recorded with Brett, so that tells us all it's rigged. Cleo, it does tell us it's rigged. And there's rumors tonight that Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, went on CBS and they recorded that interview and they went back and they edited his comments to make him look as bad as possible, and they're going to make her look as good as possible. Fox News is full of excrement network. The constant bullshit network, the nothing but crap network, the all but crap network, and the full of excrement. You say, how do you get X? Well, I'm a Southerner. We just sort of spell the way we want to spell. Excrement. The excrement network. They're no better than The View or Howard Stern. It's a joke interview. It's a joke interview. Yep, Roger, he's going to have a love fest with her. He'll probably definitely have. Roger, I didn't know you lived in Virginia. That's good. I like Youngkin. Our governor is a fighter, and he has cleared our voting rolls. He's got a fight on his hands, Roger, because the DOJ is suing him. He's trying to clear that out, but they're claiming it's too near the election, so they're not going to let him do it. I got a video. Cleo, good to see you tonight. She sent me something. I want to play this video real quick. I want to come over here to this. You're going to go black here on your screen. This is an interesting video, and I want you to watch this, folks. This is, I think, related to Israel. This is good stuff right here. I'll be back to take more questions. Watch this video real quick.
Because they will not be easy. There are people among us today who might not be with us next year at this conference. And this is the reality. Because the liberation struggle requires sacrifice. And I know everyone here is prepared to make that sacrifice.
In May 2024, over 100 organizations gathered for the People's Conference for Palestine in Detroit, Michigan. More than 3,000 activists were in attendance. Speakers celebrated the October 7th massacre, called for resistance against the West, and mapped out a vision for the destruction of America from within.
The Palestinians who came to the United States understood their role immediately upon arrival.
We, the movement for Palestine in North America and across the world, are here to fight until victory.
This violent movement has been growing for decades. It's made up of groups including Within Our Lifetime, Students for Justice in Palestine, the Palestinian Youth Movement, and many others. After the October 7th attacks, anti-Israel groups in America were emboldened. They saw the massacre as an opportunity to intensify hostility toward Jews and America.
Guys, when I think about the USF, it should burn! Death to America!
As the movement worked non-stop to legitimize the Hamas attack, the activists openly flaunted their hatred of Jews and Israel through protests, vandalism, encampments, and violent assaults, both in the streets and on college campuses. Flags of terror organizations became commonplace in public spaces. Activists celebrated the brutality of the October 7th massacre, drawing inspiration from the barbaric acts of terrorism.
It was exhilarating.
our martyrs, our heroes who made the ultimate sacrifice.
I salute Hamas. A job well done.
On October 7th, Hamas declared war on Israel. On October 8th, their supporters declared war on America.
It is time to bring the war home! It is time to smash this empire!
The goal of the movement is not just to destroy Israel. Their primary target is the U.S. They call America the enemy, the beast, or simply empire.
We're in the belly of the beast. We are in the heart of U.S. empire.
We are here in the belly of the insatiable imperial beast.
Here in North America, in the U.S., the belly of the beast, the heart of empire.
We have to bring down this empire with 1 million cuts.
We will be hitting empire where it hurts most. Bring empire to its knees.
Dismantling the heart of empire is not easy, and it won't be rapid. But we know it's possible.
This panel, y'all, is talking about what is next. To strike at the heart of empire.
The Palestinian American pro-terror movement uses the word resistance as a euphemism for violence. And that resistance is to be accomplished by any means.
We got about 3 more minutes to this, folks. I want you to understand why this is important. This is the movement of the Palestinians against America, but I want you to just stop and think for 1 second. If you replace the word Palestinian with illegal immigration, illegal alien, the same motive, the same idea is in the hearts of these that are here lawlessly. The same idea. They want to destroy us from within. Roll
necessary.
You will resist by any, all means necessary.
All means necessary.
The resistance, in all its forms.
Resistance, including armed resistance.
Normalized armed struggle.
They are not terrorists, they are freedom fighters.
Our noble, steadfast resistance.
Conference speakers outlined their strategy for bringing the war home.
I believe our fundamental role is to generate political and social crisis within the American ruling class. Mass mobilizations is the primary tactic. Street shutdowns, bridge and train shutdowns, airport caravans and shutdowns, encampments, building takeovers, targeting of weapons manufacturers, shutting down events.
We will be here in the streets, on our campuses, in our classrooms, in our workplaces every day.
We have made the situation untenable for the empire's ruling classes and the political establishment.
They have created a disruptive movement made up of students and faculty, turning young minds into anti-American extremists.
Our movement has helped transform students into revolutionaries.
Iran, Hezbollah, Hamas, and other factions that fight American hegemony in the region. People who are 18 and 19 years old on campuses truly understand these ideas now.
Protesters target cultural and historical landmarks, seeking to destabilize the foundations of American society. They are openly hostile to law enforcement and engage in violent opposition toward the police.
This video's got 2 more minutes, folks. I want you to listen to what they just said. Everything they just described about the Palestinian movement in this country, that's exactly what is going on with the movement of illegal aliens in this country. They are basically attacking the police. They're attacking your kids, your grandkids, your daughters, your sons. Bill Clinton, even though he was a dweeb and didn't even know what he was saying, he basically said what we've been saying all along, that Lincoln Riley shouldn't have died in Georgia had they been enforcing the immigration laws. Way to go, Bill. And let me tell you something. This Palestinian movement, folks, is on the horizon. This is a very serious interview and an report on this, what's going on. But it's coming at us from our borders, too. It's coming at us from this invasion of illegal aliens to America.
The influence of these organizations isn't limited to universities and public spaces. They've even reached the halls of Congress.
Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib.
We're gonna move Congress, and we're gonna move the White House. We're not going anywhere. Free, free Palestine!
The influence of these violent groups is growing, and they are working towards their goal of dismantling America.
Our struggle is a long struggle, and one that stands on the shoulders of thousands of martyrs and thousands of fighters who have committed and who are committing their lives to lay the ground for the revolution we see ahead of us today.
Gaza tells us to escalate for it. That can mean so many different things, but what I will tell you is we need to start sacrificing.
The threat of violence is not theoretical. In this war of resistance, all Americans are potential targets.
Genocide! Genocide!
These organizations are determined to achieve their revolution, whatever the cost, by any means necessary.
Resistance, by any means necessary.
If the enemy refuses to die, it must be killed.
Did you hear what the guy just said right there? If the enemy refuses to die, it must be killed. Folks, he's talking about you tonight. He's talking about me.
It must be killed.
There is only one solution.
The Palestinian diaspora in North America has committed its martyrs for this cause.
Students have brought the war home.
It is either victory or death.
Either victory or death.
They're losing their ability to control us. And this means that now the gloves are off, and quite frankly, anything is possible.
Sobering, 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 sobering stuff right there. By the way, speaking of Mr. Bill Clinton, this is his own words today. This was yesterday, I think. I'll let Mr. Clinton speak for himself. By the way, he's on the campaign trail for Kamala Jamala.
You had a case in Georgia not very long ago, didn't you? They made an ad about a young woman who'd been killed by an immigrant. Yeah, well, if they'd all been properly vetted, that probably wouldn't have happened.
You don't say, Bill.
But if they're all properly vetted, and that doesn't happen.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Yes, I approve this message. Way to go, Bill.
You had a case in Georgia not very long ago, didn't you? They made an ad about a young woman who'd been killed by an immigrant. Yeah, well, if they'd all been properly vetted, that probably wouldn't have happened. But if they're all properly vetted, and that doesn't happen.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Way to go, President Trump. You need to approve. Folks, that's Bill Clinton's own words. If they would have been properly vetted, this wouldn't have happened. No blank, Sherlock. And I'll let you fill in the blank. No blank, Sherlock. Wow. Oh, my God, Bill Clinton's found Jesus. Of course, if they would have been properly vetted. But the problem is, Bill, they shouldn't have been properly vetted. They should have had their asses kicked out coming over this country illegally. The guy that killed Lincoln Riley should not have been here. In fact, I think I'm right, he was deported already 2 or 3 times and came back, thanks to Mrs. Harris's regime and Biden's regime over the last 4 years. So, way to go, Bill. Way to go, Donald, President Trump, for playing that. I'll just let Tim Walz speak for itself. This is for all you 50 million Christians that don't want to vote and keep your sorry blessed assurances on the sofas eating your bonbons and running your freaking pathetic traps online instead of getting out and doing your God-given duty. Roll the tape.
Look, you all know it. We can't have 4 more years of this. We won't have 4 more years of it. We won't.
We won't have 4 more years of this, Tim. I pray to God you're right. By the way, that's the vice presidential candidate on the Democratic side. That's the vice presidential candidate on the Democratic side. Way to go, Timbo. Way to go, Timbo. I got to get my glasses on. I can't see. I'm going to put something up I shouldn't put up if I don't do that. Let's see here. I forgot to play this the other night. They tried to make DeSantis say a bunch of bad stuff or got him to try to praise Kamala Harris, baited him up. I love Ron DeSantis. Ron, I hope you're listening tonight. I wish you'd come on the McFiles. I'd love to have you on the show. Way to go, Ron.
There was some praise that came your way from President Biden and said that they had spoken, you had spoken. Then there was this brouhaha over Vice President Harris apparently reaching out to you and maybe not taking the call, and this whole thing, accusations that this had all become politicized. Can you just speak to what happened there?
I am working with the President of the United States. I'm working with the Director of FEMA. I'm marshaling all my state assets. We've been doing this now nonstop for over 2 weeks between Helene and this. And so if there's anything I can leverage to benefit my people, I'm going to do it. The fact of the matter is they put out a story saying I didn't even know she was trying to reach me, but she has no role in this process. And I've been dealing with these storms in Florida under both Trump and Biden. Neither of them ever politicized it. And in fact, all the storms I've dealt with under this administration, although I've worked well with the president, she has never called in Florida. She has never offered any support.
North Carolina either.
So what she's doing is she's trying to inject herself into this because of her political campaign. So as the governor here who's leading this, I don't have time for those games. I don't care about her campaign. Obviously, I'm not a supporter of hers, but she has no role in this process. And so I'm working with the people I need to be working with. We're leveraging the resources I need to be leveraging. And for her to try to say that my focus should be on catering to her rather than worrying about my own people just shows she doesn't understand what it means to respond to these natural.
And by the way, speaking of Kamala, he's talked about she has no role in this. This is how fake she is. This was taken in North Carolina. Evidently, she visited, and they literally waited for the camera to come on. I want you to watch this closely. This is who's running for president. So I want these 50 million nincompoops. And Brenda, I'll get to your question about the Palestine money in a minute, hon. I saw your question. Just bear with me just a second. I'll get back to your questions. But this is the fake Kamala Harris in North Carolina posing for a photo op while people are suffering and dying and being insulted with a $750 penance check to go away. Camera's on now. So she looks like she's talking. She looks like she's talking to the guy. Roll the tape again. You can see it right there. The camera's going. So she's got to walk like she's presidential now. It was all planned. It was all fake, like she is. Let me see here. By the way, let's see, where was another one? This is an interesting situation here. This is Kamala Harris. Roll the tape.
Of crime. Are you a Republican? Are you a Democrat? The only question I ever ask is, are you okay? And sadly, we have seen over the last 2 weeks since Hurricane Helene.
She was using a teleprompter there. That shouldn't shock us that much. I'm trying to get to all these that I can tonight. We showed the disgusting report about what she said about America yesterday. Here's Barack Obama. Language warning. If all the kids are up tonight, you might want to close your ears. If the kids are still up and out tonight, there's going to be a little language in this. But this is how Barack Obama was greeted yesterday, trying to shame, again, black men into voting for Kamala. Jamala. Roll tape.
But this is what I mean. This is what I mean. I mean, we're having a conversation. Oh, everybody. Hey, y'all up there, pay attention. Here's what happens. Listen.
And that went on for a while. I don't, the language is the language. But the sentiment, I fully agree with. Because Barry is trying to shame black people into voting for Kamala because she's black. So that's how that was his own people there. Roll the tape. Illegal alien gotaways, by the way. I want you to look at this under Obama and Trump and look at the line under Biden here. What do you mean gotaways? That's people that have been caught coming over the border illegally. They've committed crimes. And guess what we've done? We've let them get away. And that is a chart that was taken yesterday, day before. I'll let that chart speak for itself there tonight. If you think this country has not gone slap dab blank crazy, you got to watch this video from Kennedy, the Louisiana congressman today, asking two nincompoops whether a man can get pregnant. I'll let the video speak for itself. Roll the tape.
Professor, you say men can get pregnant?
Of course they can.
Are you qualified to be here?
Yes, I have a degree, Senator, sir.
What kind of degree? Like on a thermometer?
It's all fun and games until...
And I don't know if the sign there is parody or what. I'll just let her, Professor... I don't think that's her real name, but whoever did the video put that name in front of her, so I'll just leave that alone. But did you hear what Kennedy said? She said, I'm a professor or thermometer. He made a slur about her being a professor. Roll this tape again. He asked her a simple question, folks, and it gets worse after this. Roll the tape.
You say men can get pregnant?
Of course they can.
Are you qualified to be here?
Yes, I have a degree, Senator, sir.
What kind of degree? Like on a thermometer?
It's all fun and games until your son comes home pregnant.
How exactly does a man get pregnant?
Is that a serious question?
Yeah, it's a serious question.
Maybe Dr. Pushhard can answer that one. She's sitting right there.
We're delivering more than a promise.
How does a man get pregnant?
It's called rearing a child.
Are you sure?
With all due respect, sir, I'm the expert here.
I'm confused.
I'm confused too.
What hole does the baby come out?
They're called rectal births.
Jason Miller's in the house. Please, Miller. No Millerisms on that one. No Millerisms on that one. When she said she's the expert on this, I like to lost my tongue, choking on laughter. Folks, the names probably are parody, but these people actually said this. These are people making decisions for your children. These are decisions these are psychologists or whatever they are. I don't know what they are. Ho! I need to go get a color crown book, and it would not do. Carol Smith said something a while ago. It would be popcorn worthy if I got to interview Kamala Harris. It'd be popcorn worthy, all right, Smith. I would probably lose every individual who listens to this network. Chris would light it up. But my first question to her would be the same question they asked these women. Hey, Kamala, do you believe a man can get pregnant? And see what she has to say. Can I tell you this, folks? She does. She does. She has the same mentality of these two women. That's how woke the left is. She's got that leftist view. Pronouns. She's even said that her pronouns are he and they or whatever. So, that's how nutbag we are in this country tonight. All righty. The professor's dumbass. Brenda, there's a... I got to find that video. I've not played that video in a long time. I got in trouble for it when I did one night. Somebody got offended at the language. About the kid with the A&W root beer. And I'll save that video. I'll save that video for another time. I don't want to give it away. We'll do it one night when the kids are going to bed. All right. Expert in delusions. Going back to Brenda, your question about didn't Kamala and Biden just send out millions of dollars to Palestine? They sent it to Lebanon, 150 million to Lebanon, where the Hezbollah rockets are flowing tonight over Israel's northern border and killing Israeli citizens. So yes, I wouldn't call it Palestine, but they did send it to Lebanon. But Brenda, they not only sent millions to there, they sent 1.5 billion on the eve of the hurricanes. This is how insulting this $750 is. On the eve of the hurricanes, they sent a $1.5 billion check out of the Treasury of the United States of America to Ukraine. And again, I ask a simple question, folks. 1.5 billion, if you spread that out over, let's just say even just 1 million families out of 4 states, 2 million, 3 million families even, 4 million families. If you gave each family $1 million, you still are not even coming up to $1 billion. And if we put $4 billion into North Carolina, it would be just a speck in the bucket, just a speck in the bucket of what we've spent on illegals and what we've spent in the Ukraine. And now we're literally financing Israel's enemies. So yeah, part of your question is right, Brenda. The Palestine, it wasn't necessarily Palestine. It was Lebanon. Jason Miller says, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. I'm not going to read the rest of that, Miller. I knew Miller was going to chime in on that. I knew Miller was going to try to say Forbidden Planet. I was getting ready to see where she answered that question too. Susan says these people are sickening, disgraceful beyond. She's the expert. I don't know what she's the expert in, but I thought Kennedy's answer was the best when he said a degree and he says what temperature it is. But anyway, Susan, it is insanity. And Chris Aquila is in the house. Chris Aquila is in the house. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see Cleo tonight. Everybody, all you folks, Jeannie, Susan Beckett, good to see everybody on YouTube tonight. Pastor Jim and Julie Ortiz, good to see you. Roger Hooker. Many in Western North Carolina are saying FEMA is not approving the assistance or the $750. Roger, you know, at this point, I wouldn't doubt anything, and I don't doubt that. I've been told too it's a loan. I've heard the $750, and somebody tried to correct us the other night in the chat, and I don't care. And I like what Jake Franchise says. I don't care if it's about home ownership or not. I could care 2 bit pins less. It is still a personal blank you to the American people. It's a blank you to the people of North Carolina. It's a blank you to South Carolina. It's a blank you to Georgia. It's a blank you to Florida. It's a blank you to victims. It is a blank you. That's what it is. It's a blank you. Corey says, can Congress transfer the money allocated to illegals to help those? Nope, Corey, they can't. They should. I think that there's something that Congress could do, maybe, but Biden would override it. I mean, it to be passed into law in the House, it would have to go through the Senate. That's where the allocation bill starts in the House, goes to the Senate. The Senate approves it. It has to go to the president. So the bureaucracy would choke it. And honestly, Corey, these Republicans are as useless as a tick on a bull. It's a good question, though. It's a good question. It's a great question. They should, but they won't. Janet, you heard that the White House was holding back arms to Israel. There's rumors to that effect, but they sent 100 troops over there yesterday. And publicly they're saying they're sending some weapons. James Akers said last night, we ultimately don't know. That's a good question. I would hope that we're not that stupid, but I think this administration takes being stupid as a challenge. It's 9:53 in the East, folks. Actually, it's 10:53 in the East. We're going to let you go here in a minute. It's good to see everybody tonight. Eddie Gilbert says, I need Hamas I read Hamas calls American Big Satan and calls Israel Little Satan. That's correct, Eddie. That is correct. That is correct. Susan Prusky says, I'm frightened about Palestinian violence at a conference in Detroit, Michigan. It's very serious. Of course it's very serious, Susan, and it is in mainstream America. And Dearborn, Michigan is the hub of it. It's the hub of it. And you saw Rashida Tlaib, or whatever her name is, in that video. She is an instigator of a lot of that. She is part of the mob of that. They call it the four, the people in the Congress. I can't think of their names. There's four of them. But her, Omar, AOC, and there's another one, Presley. I can't even think of their names at this point tonight. But she's part of that. But Dearborn, Michigan is a hub of Muslim activity. It's going to be interesting about that because there's a lot of Muslims that are upset with Joe Biden because he's supporting Israel. In some ways he isn't, but it's going to be interesting how that does. And Brenda, I don't think anybody is letting fear control us. We understand God's not the father of chaos and Satan is. I'm not letting fear control me. And I don't think anybody in this chat room is tonight. But these are realities that we need to face. I mean, we can't just stick our head in the sand and say it don't exist because this country is in great dire chaos tonight. This country is in a mess. And it needs prayer. And it's not going to get out of this mess on its own. I mean, we have gotten ourselves neck deep in such depravity that it's going to take revival. And, you know, as I wrap this up tonight, folks, and we'll be back here tomorrow night for the Faith Show and Thursday night and Friday night. We're going to have a full week of shows this week. Some of them may be later. We may have a late show Thursday night. But anyway, Brenda, I don't think anybody is in fear. I'm not in fear. I'm disgusted. And I'm mad and I'm upset that my nation has gone to this place and this place of depravity. But you know who I'm upset with, Brenda? I'm upset at so-called Christians that don't even register to vote and then lecture me. And I'm not talking to you, Brenda, because I know you're registered. I'm talking about people that they want to lecture others about their lifestyle and lecture the country about how evil it is, but the Christian that lectures the country and then don't even go out and vote, such a hypocrite. That's the biggest hypocrite you've ever seen in your life. A self-righteous, bigoted, big mouth, gossip box hypocrite. It's nothing worse. We need to put up or shut up in the church tonight. If we're going to be the salt of the earth and the light of the world, then act like it. Act like the church. Act like the church. Act like the church. Act like the church. If we're not going to be the church, then shut up. The country is only a reflection of us. It's only a reflection of what the church has become within its walls. And I go back to what I said about the churches a while ago, driving across the country. And in my state of Tennessee, I see it just about on every corner in Knoxville, Tennessee. You can't even go 5 minutes apart. And there's not a church that's got a banner out there. All are welcome. Immigrants welcome. LGBTQ welcome. Everybody's welcome. We don't care who you are. Come on in. We'll protect you. I saw one church in Knoxville right across from a post office where we get our mail. And it said literally, if you're an illegal immigrant, you're welcome here. We will protect you. What does that say? What does that say? That wasn't a government agency, folks. That was a church. That was a church with a name on it that's dead. But Brendan, my concern tonight ain't the fear. No, my concern is the apathy of 50% of what this George Barna poll that came out just last month, it said 50% of professing Christians, and James Aker said it last night, they're the biggest voting bloc in America. They're not, it's not that they said they wasn't going to vote. They ain't even registered to vote. So if we're going to judge this country and claim it how bad it is and yet do nothing in our power that we have in our hands to change it, we need to shut the blank up. I'm not talking to you, Brenda. There's audiences beyond this camera tonight that's going to listen to this later. And Chris don't mind saying that. Chris don't mind saying that. It's about being informed, praying, and taking action. I'll amen that. I'll amen that. Very much so. All righty. Did you like the hokey pokey last night? People thought I lost my natural born mind. I'm playing with this app. And I know you need to go out on a good note tonight. You need to go out on some funny stuff. You need to go out with a smile on your face. So, you know, this is the McFiles. It is a Tuesday night. And I'll do it again. Roll the tape.
You put your right foot in, you put your right foot out, you put your right foot in and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. I'm going to play that again. Let me play that again. Let me play that again. Some of you needed that. Some of you getting a little punch drunk out there tonight. So if you're getting overwhelmed by the bad in this world,
you put your right foot in, you put your right foot out, you put your right foot in and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about.
But when you do the hokey pokey, keep your senses about you and use your brain. Ho! And I'll go out on that on this Tuesday night. I'll go out on that on this Tuesday night. By the way, here's another one I did.
Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on this farm he had a horse, E-I-E-I-O.
And that horse tonight that I got is called Donald John Trump. And I'm voting for President Trump. And we support Israel on this network. And any other questions you got? McFiles Forum at gmail.com. Did you enjoy the show tonight? Did you enjoy the show tonight? Put some fire in that house. I do apologize for the cray-cray.
I remember when I lost my mind.
I don't know why that don't play.
I remember.
There we go.
I remember when I lost my mind.
I've lost my mind a long time ago. That's why I do the McFiles every night, and I make you laugh, and I make you scream, and get mad, and get upset, and swear up and down you'll never listen again. I'll see you back here tomorrow night, because I know you'll be back. I'll be back too. Faith Day tomorrow, unless we have something break overnight and have a crazy day. Thursday we'll be back, late Thursday night. Friday night we'll be back. Doing the same thing. By the way, before I forget it, somebody asked, Inslee Grace McDonald will be here at this time tomorrow. We'll see you guys in the morning on the Bible study. Please don't show my granddaughter that video I just showed you. She's going to think her Papa Max done lost his mind before she comes. She won't even come out of the womb tomorrow if she sees that. She'll say, if I'm a McDonald and that's my grandpa, no. But she'll be here in the morning. And we'll probably be able to announce the Bible study time that she'll be here tomorrow, hopefully and prayerfully. Thank you all for the prayers and the kind words about her. I love you all tonight, and I appreciate you being with me. We had to go out on a positive, intriguing note. McDonald loses his mind every night on this show. But I have a good time doing it, and I hope you had a good time too, and I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.